Now let's take a look at how to deal with checkboxes. So scrolling down the page, I can see my little group of checkboxes here. Let me open up the inspector. Now, checkboxes are different from radio buttons. These happen to be grouped visually, but they're not grouped in the same way. Any of these can be checked completely independently of the others. So what I'm going to do is figure out whether this checkbox is checked. So I'm going to get its ID first by inspecting it. That's the label, but it shares the same ID. So I'll copy that, switch back to my console, and use the getElementById method. And now, as with others, I'm going to try looking at its value property. Okay, in this case, I get yes. That is not what I might have expected if I didn't know this. So when you look at the value property of a checkbox, you're not actually finding out whether it's checked. So watch this. If I uncheck it and try the same thing again, I still get yes. Now, why is that? If I look back here, I can see that the checkbox element has a value attribute set to yes. So this is not actually meaningful in terms of determining whether this checkbox is checked. I need to look at a different property. And in this case, that property is called checked. So now, if I try this, I get false. And if I check the box, try it again, I get true. So this is the property that you want to look at when you're looking at checkboxes. What you do with that information will depend on the particular page that you're working with, the application, the web app that you're building, all that sort of thing. If you want to use the actual value that's set here, you can. But you need to first make sure that you've looked at the checked property to see whether that box was in fact checked. This is how you do it when you're working with JavaScript. If you're using something like PHP or some other kind of back-end processing, the way that these checkboxes will be transmitted could differ. But we're dealing with JavaScript and we're dealing with front-end stuff. So what we need to look at is the checked property and then act accordingly.